Hey everybody, Joel here. Today I am creating a video to help you understand what is the marketing strategy and how does it fit together. So the big idea behind this is that sometimes people don't do their best work when I throw all the information at them and then ask them to think about it and spew up all kinds of brilliance right at the same time. And so I'm sending this to you in advance so that you can just think about it a little bit. And then when we actually come back to do it, your brain will have had a chance to give it some cycles there. So the big idea of marketing strategy is that this is part of the VTO, so it's part of the vision, and it's one of the 8 questions that we need to get right and answered so that you as a leadership team can truly be on the same page with the vision of this organization. And so to be 100% clear, this is marketing strategy, not marketing tactics, not marketing plans. So SEO, pay-per-click, lead magnets, landing pages, all of that stuff is good, and you have to do all of that stuff. But that's not what we're talking about here. What we're talking about here is very high level from a marketing standpoint, which is really just this. Who is our ideal customer, and what is the message that is most attractive to them? It is tempting to say, well, who's our ideal customer? Well, it's anybody who will give us $1. And lots of times companies operate in that mentality, and what it gets you is such a wide variety of different customers and different projects and things that it's difficult to really have your business run smoothly. And so the good news is that you don't need all of the customers out there. You really don't want all the customers out there. We just need to figure out which are the best fits for your organization and drill in on what message is most attractive to those ideals. So a couple things before I dive into what do these things look like. There's 4 parts: the target market, which is kind of the target market, the 3 uniques, the proven process, and the guarantee. When people start creating this in a session, sometimes people get freaked out because what they think is that if somebody does not completely 100% fit inside the target market, what that means is that we're going to reject them. Now, that's not what we're saying here. What we're saying is that this is the target that we are pointing at. So all of our sales and marketing efforts are going to pursue this set of clients that are exactly this. Now, it is very normal for other things to find themselves to you. If you said, we want to work with companies with revenue between $5 and $15 million, and somebody comes to you and they're a perfect prospect, but the revenue is $17 million, you're probably not going to be like, whew, our cutoff is 15, you're 17, we don't want to work with you. No, that's not what we're talking about. What we're saying is, if your sales and marketing people have a limited amount of kind of sales and marketing bullets that they can shoot, we're going to shoot at the ones that are between 5 and 15. We're going to point all of our efforts, all of our marketing landing pages, and all of our avatars and all that kind of stuff. We're going to point at this exact target market. We might catch something else, and if we do, that's okay. We have to be careful that we don't take things that are not within our core focus. But it's okay for not everything to be 100% inside of the marketing strategy. So for example, I work with nonprofits. I love working with nonprofits. Probably 25% of my business over the last 10 years has been nonprofits. Nonprofits are not in my target market. Now, that doesn't mean I don't love working with nonprofits, but it does mean I'm not advertising to nonprofits. I'm not hanging out at nonprofit conferences. Like, when they find their way to me, I love working with them, but I'm not pursuing that as a target market. So that's the way I want you to think about this. So target market, 3 uniques, proven process, guarantee. Now there's a delineation here because every EOS company has a target market and has 3 uniques. Not every EOS company chooses to have a proven process, and not every EOS company chooses to have a guarantee. So why would you choose or not choose? Well, really, it's about a sales tool. And if you think that you can close more business as a result of having a proven process that's documented or having a guarantee that's formalized, then wonderful, we do it. If you don't think that will help you close more business, then we just say, nope, we're not going to do that, and we take it off the list. So when we do marketing strategy in the session, we'll be creating the target market, we'll be creating the 3 uniques, then we'll be deciding, are we going to do a proven process, and are we going to do a guarantee? We generally don't do those in the session. Those usually end up on the issues list, and those get assigned as a marketing rock or something like that. So what are these things? So target market, 3 parts to this. We have the demographic of our ideal customer, the geographic of our ideal customer, and the psychographic of our ideal customer. So what do these things mean? Demographic, this is all the stuff that you could look up about a company. Or if maybe you're a B2C organization and your demographic isn't companies and individuals. Either way, fine. So we want to work with companies between $5 and $10 million of revenue that are privately held, that are within the aerospace and defense industry, that are not located, that would be geographic, sorry. So all of those kinds of things would be demographic. And then geographic would be where are they located? So do we want to work with people that are in our own backyard? Do we want to work with people in the 7-county metro? Do we want to work with people in our state? Do we want to work with people in the world, in the nation? What is this? And once again, this does not mean that if you're in Kansas and that's your target market and you get a lead in California, you wouldn't talk to them, because maybe you do, but you're targeting the people in Kansas. So that's the geographic. Then psychographic is about what do these people value and how do they think and what's important to them and things like that. So you think about, the way I like to think about psychographic is people who are shopping for different kinds of cars. So who shops for a BMW? Okay, well, that's a very specific type of person. They're concerned about image and performance and speed and the way they're perceived in the world, and they want to feel powerful, and that kind of thing is usually the person that's shopping for a BMW. But what about the person shopping for a minivan? Okay, well, they typically aren't going to be concerned about image and power and prestige. They're going to be concerned about transporting a whole bunch of kids and doing it efficiently and doing it as cheaply as possible. Well, what about the person who's shopping for an EV? Now, sometimes it's image focused if they're looking for a Tesla or something, but just kind of across the board EVs, there's a different type of person that is saying, that's what I really want. And so we need to drill in on the psychographic of who we are trying to target. So by way of example, demographic for me, I'm looking for 5 to 50 million in revenue and 10 to 250 employees and privately held. And again, that doesn't mean that I'm not going to work with somebody that's outside of that, but if I'm going to advertise or if I'm going to spend time at events, I'm going to spend time at events where those particular people are hanging out. So geographic, where are they? In the MSP area. Once again, I've got clients outside of the MSP area, love working with them, but I'm not going to deliberately go out and try to find more clients in Kansas City, something like that. Psychographic, what do they think, what's important to them? So they're growth oriented, they are willing to be open, honest, and vulnerable. They are not afraid to change. They're not afraid to accept help. So all of those things are kind of examples for the target market. So for your organization, what we'll do is we'll give people time to think for each one of these things, and then we'll come back and ask everybody what they wanted, or not what they wanted, but what they think the target market should be for demographic, geographic, psychographic, and then we'll edit real time to get a handle on what exactly that target market is going to look like. So the next part is 3 uniques, and 3 uniques, this is, if we think about this exact target market and the best clients that we want, well, why would they bother to work with us? And if you are, say, an auto repair shop, there's lots of auto repair shops. So there's lots of different places that people could spend their money. Why would they bother to work with us? Well, one of those uniques isn't necessarily going to differentiate us completely in the market. And 2 of those uniques might not even, but all 3, if somebody wants all 3 of these things, then we're the only place they can get all 3. So by way of example here, EOS, the 3 uniques for EOS is vision, traction, and healthy. So if you want a system that gets people aligned around a common vision, teaches people how to execute so they can achieve a vision, and builds healthy teams, EOS is the only one that does it that way. And now if that's not what you want, fine. But if that is what you want, EOS, you've segmented the market narrow enough that EOS is the way to go there. For me, my 3 uniques are ops-oriented, team focused, and in the trenches. So ops oriented, meaning that my background is operations, and somebody may want to have an EOS implementer that's stronger in finance or stronger in sales, and that's fine. I'm competent there, but my expertise is really in operations. And so I say ops oriented. And then second being team focused. I believe that the best way to get an owner what he or she wants for the business is not to focus on the owner, but to focus on the team and say, how do we elevate everybody in the team? And so that's the way that I believe. That's kind of the modus operandi that I bring to the table. And again, if that's not what somebody wants, fine. But if that is what you want, then I'm a good candidate there. And then the last part being in the trenches. And so in the trenches, meaning that I like to see the plans in action. I always am telling my clients that you're not going to remember everything that I say. And so call me and I promise I will never make fun of you for asking a question that we went over in a session. I will repeat it as many times as necessary. I will help you with anything, even if we've gone over it 5 times. I want to be there with you. I want to be a resource for you. I want to walk beside you in this. So if you want an EOS implementer who is operations oriented, who is team focused, and who is in the trenches, there isn't another EOS implementer that does it the way that I do it, as far as I know. So we've segmented the market very, very narrowly there. And that's what we need to do for your business as well. Now, if somebody doesn't want that, that's fine. But if they do, your company is the only choice because you're the only ones that do it this way. So target market, 3 uniques, proven process. Proven process is a visually illustrated way that you do business. So you guys have all seen this. This is the EOS proven process. And it is printed on cardstock and it's pretty. And the idea here is that more people are willing to engage in an EOS journey because I can show them this and say, look, this is the way that we do it. We do it this way every single time. And we've taken 22,000 companies through this. There was 3,000 that went through EOS before I ever even started on the EOS journey. All those kinks have been worked out. We do it this way every time because it works. And yeah, Joel's a great guy and Joel's smart and whatever. But you're not just in the good hands of Joel. You're in the good hands of a proven process that was birthed and refined long after I ever came on the scene and will be there long after I'm ever gone. And if you believe that your company can close more business if you can sit in front of your prospects and point to a proven process like this, then we create a proven process. And if you're like, I don't really think that that'll do much for us, then we don't. You guys have plenty to do. We don't need more extra things for you to do that aren't going to really help. And so by way of example, I've got a client that owns and runs movie theaters. Okay, well, they don't have a proven process. Like people see a trailer, they want to see the movie, they show up to the theater. Now, they have to be very intentional about how they market the theater in the community, but nobody's going to be like, okay, well, I'm going to show up to your theater because this is the exact process I can expect. Same thing, I've got clients that own and run hotels. We're not going to have a proven process for people coming to a hotel. That's not helpful. Okay, now what about guarantee? So guarantee is what's kind of the revolutionary promise you can make in the market that lowers people's anxiety and makes it more likely for them to want to engage with you. So the EOS guarantee, and this isn't just for me, this is for all EOS people, is what we call our session guarantee, which means there's no contracts, there's no long-term engagements. If you're happy, you pay us. If you're not happy, you don't pay us. And more people are willing to engage in an EOS journey because when they say, let's do this, I say, okay, cool. When would you like to do the first day? I don't say, all right, well, here's 12 pages of legalese. Have your legal people check it out and then get back to me and we'll get the contract signed. And so because there is no contract, because they know that they don't have to pay if they're not happy, more people are willing to engage in that journey. Now, sometimes people freak out kind of justifiably about this idea of saying guarantee because it can be a legal term and could get you in trouble with contracts. So I have had some clients downgrade and say, well, we have a guarantee, but we don't want to call it that. We're going to call it our promise or we're going to call it our pledge. And that's okay. This is marketing, so that works as well. Now, once again, not every client is going to have a guarantee. Even if you have something that you have in a contract that's a guarantee, if it doesn't help you sell more business, there's no point in incorporating it into your marketing strategy. So roughly half of EOS companies have a proven process, roughly half have a guarantee. So for sure we have target market, for sure we have three uniques. We'll decide on proven process, we'll decide on guarantee. Now, one other thing I want to say on this, most companies have a marketing strategy, which means here's the customers we want to go after, here's the message most attractive to them, here's the proven process, here's the guarantee. Some EOS clients have more than one marketing strategy. Now, I want you to be careful here. I had a client one time tell me they had 7. I'm like, no, you don't have 7 marketing strategies. You're just trying to do way too many things. But maybe you've got a residential division and you've got a commercial division. Okay, well, the target market for the residential customers is different than that for the commercial customers. The buyers are different, the psychographic is different, and quite frankly, the message that's most attractive to them in the 3 uniques, we're going to say something totally different to the residential people than we say to the commercial people. So maybe we've got a residential target market, we've got a commercial target market. Or a lot of times for nonprofits, they will have, when we do this for nonprofits, they've got a marketing strategy for the people they're trying to serve. They also have a marketing strategy for the people who serve the organization. So board members, volunteers, things like that. And so we've got to be clear, what is the target market we're going after for the people we're serving? What is the target market of the people who we want to serve the organization? Why would they bother to work with us if they're receiving our services? Why would they bother to work with us if they're donating their services? So we differentiate that way. 1 is most common. 2 is not uncommon. I have had a few clients with 3. I haven't had a client with more than 3. So just when you start thinking about this, just don't go to 7. But if you have more than 1, we'll figure that out in the session. And what we'll do is we'll say, okay, well, if we've got 2, which one is the hardest or the scariest? Let's do that one together. And then I'll lead you through that. And then usually you on your team on your own would come up with the other one. So that is marketing strategy. And as always, if you've got questions or comments, let me know and be happy to answer those either ahead of time or when we are together in the session. Thanks, everybody.